My name is Robert Rodriguez. I'm one of the study abroad advisors for the IEO, and the IEO is the one-stop shop for all things study abroad. So at our office, we can discuss the program options, basically any questions, any study abroad questions you have. We have our advisors that are ready to help you. We have our coordinators that are ready to help you. We can also connect you with study abroad returnees. And a study abroad returnee are recent UCLA students that has returned from abroad and that can be connected with you, so that way you can learn about the study abroad experience from a student's perspective. You can learn about the academic structure, how free time was spent, weekends, evenings, and so on. So definitely a great way to learn about study abroad as well. And as you know, this is the second day of our GLOW Week, Global Learning Opportunities Week, which is a series of webinars scheduled throughout the week. And also tomorrow, Wednesday, we will be tabling at the Bruin Plaza, which is where the Broom Bear is located. So you'll see us there starting in the morning to the afternoon. You can stop by and pick up some free giveaways, including t-shirts and some more study abroad information, interact with staff directly, and get assistance with any questions you might have, or just stop by and say hello and pick up a flyer. So please join us tomorrow, and please continue to attend our webinars that are scheduled throughout the week. Just a quick overview of what this session will cover. We'll go over a few one-on-one refreshers. We'll discuss the program options in Japan and Korea, go over some sample programs, and we have a great opportunity to have a Q&A session with a study abroad returnee, which I will introduce when the moment comes. And this is a great opportunity to learn about from a recent participant that studied abroad for a semester program in Korea. So study abroad 101 refreshers. So the 101, which aired yesterday, Monday, which covered the type of programs, how the credit transfer process, how it works, the cost and funding options that are available, the application process and timeline. So if you missed this webinar, again, the Study Abroad 101 will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. You will be able to access this webinar at any time, 24/7, when uploaded and ready. So if you missed it, please take a look and watch the webinar, and that way you can catch up with any information you may have missed. In this session, we'll be talking about Japan and Korea specifically, go over some program options, returnee advice, and we'll have a Q&A session afterwards. Program types will consist of, internship, research opportunities, immersion, a dozen other types. For example, those dozen other types can be language programs. So all of these options are highlighted in detail in the 101 refresher. So please go back and take a look and see what's available. Narrowing down a program. So we have a feature on our website that will allow you to get some assistance on how to select a program. For example, you can select a program based on subject area, or based on location, based on term. When we say term, based on if you want to go abroad for a summer, for a fall, or a spring semester, or quarter, or a year-long program. So this tool will help you narrow down your search based on what your interests are when it comes to going abroad, and how to organize your program. Financial aid. Can I use UCLA financial aid for study abroad program? Yes. Are there scholarships? Yes. There's definitely financial aid and scholarships available. And we do have financial aid and scholarship webinars scheduled later this week. So please visit the Global Learning Opportunities Week webpage to learn more about these two webinars, and other webinars will be available as well throughout the week. So please do not miss it. Again, we have financial aid webinar coming up this week, and also a scholarship webinar coming up this week as well. When to apply, the 9 months before the start of a program, deadlines vary by program. And as we move along, we'll start getting into when to apply and where to apply and so on. It's a competitive, generally no, most programs are first come, first serves. Can I apply, register now? For most summer, fall programs for UCEAP are available now. The only programs that are not available now are the limited space programs that will open November the 1st, which we'll get into more details as we move along as well. Again, studying abroad in Korea and Japan. So now we're getting started. So as I mentioned, this is a snapshot of our website, when specifically our deadlines page. So for programs that are not limited space programs, you can register now for UCEAP summer, fall, or year-long options. The limited space programs will open November the 1st. For spring and winter programs, all programs, including limited space programs, offered within those terms will open in January the 3rd. So please mark your calendars and make note of this, and especially for the limited space program opening date, because these spots are given on a first come, first served basis, and they do go fast. Programs in Korea. We have Korea University, Yonsei University, Summer Seoul at Yonsei University, and Seoul National University. As you can see the terms that are available for each type of program. Korea University offers fall, spring, and year. Yonsei fall, spring, and year as well. Seoul National fall and spring only. Also, you can see that the first 3 options you see there that I just mentioned have a limited number of spots. And these spots are given on a first come, first served basis. So in other words, for example, Korea University has 5 spots for the fall and year. So the first 5 complete applications will secure a spot. So if you submit an incomplete application, you will not get a spot for that reason alone, the application being incomplete. So please make sure you submit a complete application consisting of the UCEAP online application and questionnaire, which is linked within the online application. The only program that is not a limited space program here is the Seoul Summer program at Yonsei University. So since the program is not a limited space program, that means you can take your time applying. As long as you apply on or before the deadline, you will be participating in this program. So this is a snapshot of what the UCEAP website looks like for programs in Korea. So you see each individual program will have its own individual box. Within that box, you can see the minimum GPA requirement and class level requirement. All programs are taught in English, and you can also see that note there within each individual box. So when you click on these boxes, you learn more specific information about each individual program. For example, you learn about the housing options that are available, the academic structure, the cost of the program. So you have to click on an individual box to get these details. But I just wanted to show you what the eligibility requirements look like when searching programs in Korea. So for program options in Japan, most programs will have multiple terms. For example, one program may offer summer, fall, spring, and year option, basically offering all terms. Some programs will just offer just one. It could be a summer option only. And Japan is home to many limited space programs. all of which are first come, first serve, including the summer STEM programs in Tokyo, Japan. So in the past, well, within the last 3 years, we had a personal STEM component to the summer STEM programs. That's no longer the case. So now those programs are offered on a first come, first serve basis. So what I recommend is, because the limited space programs have not opened, and that will happen November the 1st. So you have time to read about these programs, learn about these programs, learn about the eligibility requirements, and so on. So that way you're ready to apply when the time comes. So this is what it looks like when you click on a program to learn about it. So in this specific example, the STEM research in Osaka, in the program at glance, the little box there, you can see what the minimum GPA requirement, what it is, the terms that this program is available for, summer, fall, and spring. And while we're on terms, most programs in Japan outside of summer are on a spring semester. The only program that is on the quarter system is the ICU, International Christian University program. And also the Yonsei programs, Korea and Seoul National, are also on semester. So please make a note of that as well when planning on a study abroad program, because obviously semester is much longer than a quarter system. So you'll need to plan for that when applying for programs offered during the academic year. And also in this example, to the left, you'll see multiple tabs that you can access specific program information regarding academics, housing, the cost, how to apply, support and safety, dates and eligibility. So you'll be able to see all that information. When you click on housing, for example, you'll be able to read about the housing options, and you'll be able to read a brief description of what the housing accommodations look like. So here's a quick list of the host universities that are available in Japan, which is obviously much longer than the host universities we have in Korea. So we have Meiji Gakuin, Hitotsubashi, Doshisha, Waseda. And Waseda is one of the programs that's a year-long option. So these are several host universities that you have access to when applying to programs in Japan. So you can take a look at these options, read about them in detail when visiting each individual program page, and learn about what the academic structure, what it looks like, and what's available. And you can look at what course options are available when selecting and viewing a program. Next up, we have the Global Internship Program in Osaka, Japan. This is a summer-only program, and registration for this program, specifically for engineering, starts next week, Monday, on the 24th of October through December 4th. So if you're interested, you have time to visit our website and learn about this program in detail. And when the time comes, October 24th, you can secure a spot by submitting a non-refundable $300 deposit. Again, this is an internship program for UC credit, and the internship is unpaid. And the selection process it is competitive, so keep that in mind, and you'll learn more about that when reading the information on our website. So we'll mention our website and our contact as we move along the presentation. So again, mark your calendars, October 24th, next week, Monday. Our registration will open for the summer UCLA Global Internship Program in Osaka, Japan. So now we'll get into the academics. So you're not obligated to study abroad within your major. Obviously, it is one of many options. You can satisfy GEs, minor, foreign language requirements abroad, or you can take some electives, or for personal professional development. You're still making progress towards your degree. That does not stop. While abroad, you're still a UCLA student. That does not change. So you can think about what courses you'd like to take abroad. For example, for a semester program, you need a minimum of 4 classes to maintain full-time student status. So for 4 classes, you can, let's say, for example, you can take 2 courses for your major and then 2 GEs, or 2 major requirements, 1 G, 1 elective, different combinations. So different combinations is available, and you get to put together, your study list. So to keep that in mind, span your search beyond major programs. Think about research opportunities, think about internship opportunities. Everything offered through UCEAP and the Global Internship are credit bearing. So you will earn UC credit for all of these options. So that will happen. So there shouldn't be any concerns about that. So these opportunities are available to make progress towards your degree and participate in any study abroad option in Japan and Korea. So now we'll go over some UCEAP sample programs. So as I previously mentioned, Yonsei University is out of the 3 Korea universities, Yonsei, I would say, is the most popular. And I would say that because Yonsei has had a partnership with UCLA for many years. SNU and KU are fairly new, but also just as great as Yonsei. And here you can see the time frame for the fall, spring, and year. So right now we have a range of months. At a later time, the exact dates will be announced, but for now you can see the range of months in which you can expect to be abroad. Potential credit, major, minor G, language requirements. So again, many opportunities there for UC credit. Some highlights, internship opportunities, volunteer opportunities as well. And I listed a few sample subject areas: poli-sci, soc, econ, anthropology, art history, computer science, communications, mathematics, psychology. So these are just a few. There are so many different subject areas available for you at Yonsei University. And again, the fall, spring, and year options are limited space programs, and the summer Yonsei program is wide open and is not limited, and you can actually apply now. Sample program, the Global Studies program in Japan, offered during the fall and spring semester only. So again, you can see the range of program dates there, and at a later time, the exact dates will be announced. Potential credit the same, major, minor G, language requirements. If you plan on doing your language requirement either in Japan or Korea, when you get there, you will take a language placement exam just to see where you're at, so you can start at the appropriate level. And if you're using the language portion of your program to meet the UCLA language requirement, you will take another placement exam when you return, just to see where you're at after completing the language program abroad. And for this specific program, the type of housing has a single option of a dorm option. Program arranged. When you see a note like that on the program page, that just means that once you confirm that you will like the dorm option, then the program itself will set it up for you, and they will let you know where your housing dorm is located, and so on. Sample subject areas: anthropology, history, econ, international studies, film and media studies. So again, some pretty awesome subject area samples there, and there are many more, and which we'll highlight later on as we move along, how to view these sample subject areas, and also where to view them as well. So now I would like to introduce Emily Moreta, was a recent Yonsei University spring semester participant. And Emily will share what her experience is like. And if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the Q&A. So without further ado, please welcome Emily. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Robert. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. And I'm super excited to be speaking with you guys today. So what I wanted to talk about was a little bit of my program preparation in addition to sort of my day-to-day and what I really chose to do as a Yonsei University student. So to begin, in terms of preparation, to be honest, you have to be very diligent with it. Especially if you have more than one major, more than one minor, it's really important that you really plan everything out so that you can graduate within the required or the time that you want. For me, I wanted to do the standard 4 years. So actually, since we all got sent home because of the pandemic, my freshman year here at UCLA, that was when I really decided to sit down and just start researching all the programs. Robert actually was a great resource. I know I kept on emailing him a lot during my freshman and sophomore years as I was figuring out. I went to a lot of these webinars, did research, and I created a plan. So basically the classes that I was planning to take at Yonsei, I already knew my sophomore year, and the classes, that I would have to take for the rest of my time at UCLA, I already knew. So that when I did go to Yonsei University for my winter and spring quarters, I had everything planned out and I was on track. The second thing is to really research the area. So when I was applying, my two options were SNU and Yonsei, and I did research and I thought that Yonsei would be a better fit for me. It is closer geographically to a lot of the big sites in Seoul. So Namsan, Hongdae, Myeongdong, all these things are really, really close to Yonsei. So for me, since traveling was like a really big thing for me, I wanted to be just closer, whereas SNU is a little bit farther away. And then I started doing research within Yonsei University. So I really learned how their housing worked. It is on a very competitive first come, first serve. As international students or exchange students, you are not guaranteed housing at the dorms. Many of my friends actually had to get Airbnbs. I luckily was able to secure a spot in the global dorms, the international student dorms, but that was pure chance, right? It was through the first come, first serve, whoever's Wi-Fi was faster. Then I started looking at classes. So actually the classes that I took at Yonsei, I did receive them for major credit here, but no one had actually taken them before. So I had to make sure that they aligned closely with the classes that I wanted to get credit for back here at UCLA, and then get that proper guidance. And also, once you come back, get that approval from those departments. So now in terms of a little bit of what life was like in Korea, I absolutely loved it. I missed it so much. I always said that I wouldn't be one of those people who would constantly talk about my study abroad once I came back, but I most definitely do. And I hope that that is the same experience for you guys as well. But for me, actually, what was really unique, I think, for my experience is that I joined a club on campus, and I was the only one, I think, who really did that. So I was the only foreigner, the only international student in that club. Korean was the predominant language that we spoke, so you definitely needed a little bit of knowledge. And it was a music club. It's called Mua Busking. And they really just completely transformed my experience in Korea. As international students, sometimes it can be really hard to connect with locals or even get the chance to meet with locals. Here in the US, to go to UCLA, you're required to speak English, but at Yonsei, because they have such good English classes and classes taught in English, speaking Korean isn't a requirement. So a lot of people assume that international or exchange students don't speak Korean, which can be harder to meet people. So because I was able to connect with this club, with my friends, they just taught me so much about Korean culture, Korean life, that I would not have had the experience of if I had not been able to get into that club. So I really recommend that when you do study abroad, you find a way to connect with locals, with local students, whether that's through a club or maybe a place that you frequent a lot. You can get to start talking to like the other regulars, maybe at a cafe or a library. I think it's really important that you really push your boundaries, get out of your comfort zone, to maybe, just not talking, or to not only talking to the other international and exchange students, and widening your social circle a little bit. And then the second thing is that if your goal is language exchange, culture exchange, it's really important for you to know a little bit of the language. You don't have to be perfect. Sorry, excuse me. At Yonsei University, they have just this internationally acclaimed language institute called the Korean Language Institute, and it's offered through Yonsei. It's most people who do decide to learn Korean go through KLI. Just for reference, I went up to Korean 4 here at UCLA, and I tested into Korean 2. So there. So their program is a little bit more rigorous, a little bit more advanced. So that is sort of the equivalent. But I think it's really important that you do speak a little bit of Korean, just so that you can respect the culture, respect the people. In my day-to-day, I noticed that people were much more willing to be open and talk with me once I had shown that I had a little knowledge of the language. And then the third thing that I would really recommend is to just absolutely explore the area. Because for me, classes did end up being in person, it was really hard for me to actually travel outside of Seoul, because I had to make time for class. So the only area that I was really able to travel was Jeju, outside of Seoul, but that was absolutely amazing. I know some other people who had online classes who were able to go to Busan, Gwangju, all of these other areas outside of Seoul that I would have absolutely loved to go to, but I couldn't. But I really got familiar with Seoul. Seoul is a huge city. Think LA County, right? That has all of those cities inside. It's kind of the same thing with Seoul. Depending on where you're at, it looks like a completely different place. Insadong is that's where you'll see like the traditional houses. If you go to Hongdae, that's mostly where like college students hang out. If you go to Myeongdong, that's much more international. A lot of the underground markets and night markets are there. And then Gangnam, Cheongdam, Apgujeong, those areas, actually it's sort of referred to as Seoul's Rodeo Drive, because it's like an up and coming, really fancy area. So there's so much to do inside of Seoul, outside of just, studying. And what I would do is that I would look at my map. Every Tuesday I didn't have class, so I would just pick a different area on the map and I'd say, that's where I'm going to go study. I'd look at cafes that I could find there, and then I'd take the bus or the subway, and I'd spend my day there. And it was just absolutely amazing. Sometimes my friends would join, and we would first study, and then around dinner time, that's when we would start exploring the city a little, or that area a little bit, find a nice restaurant, perhaps karaoke, something like that. So, I really recommend to just push yourself out of your comfort zone. I sometimes can be really introverted, but I knew that, this is a one in a lifetime opportunity, and I had to make the absolute most of it. So when I went, I was like, I'm going to talk to everyone that I can. I'm going to practice the language. I'm going to learn the culture. And I made those my priority. And because I was able to make that my priority, I was able to get the most out of it. So yeah, that's what I recommend. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and send them in, and hopefully I can answer them for you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emily. Really appreciate you joining us and sharing some great information. I know the students will definitely be tuned into that, and will tune into that as the session becomes available on our YouTube channel. So we don't have any questions at the moment, and that's okay. You can always submit questions later on. So as we move along, you will have access to viewing our contact information. And before doing that, you can also sign up for our newsletter using our QR code. So you can sign up for updates and learn more about events throughout campus and study abroad related information. And I see we have a question, so let's take a look. How did you find classes that were UCLA transferable? So that question is for you, Emily. And then once you answer that question, I'll go ahead and take the second one.
Okay, perfect. So the first thing you want to do is definitely go onto the UCEAP or the My EAP website and check the classes that previous students have already taken. So, UCEAP does a really great job of saying that these aren't the only classes that you can take. These are just classes that people from your university took in the past that they got credit for. And they have it for every UC campus. So you just filter UCLA and then you can filter it by subject. So here I'm an IDS major. So for the classes there, I was really looking at their government and diplomacy, anything that was under the Underwood International College. And so I filtered those and then I saw which ones that students had taken. And then I compared it with the IDS curriculum. So you should do that with whatever major you have. But then once I saw that maybe those classes weren't classes that I wanted to take, I went through the Yonsei University course list and I saw their classes there. And it's really important for you to check the year, right? Because you don't want to take a class that maybe is offered as a lower division there, but is considered an upper division here because it won't transfer. So you want upper division classes there to count for upper division classes here, or lower division to count for lower division. So they'll say it by year. So usually classes from year 3 and 4 are considered upper division at Yonsei. And so then once I was able to, they have everything online. So you can check the syllabus, no matter the year, the semester. So I would check the syllabus and then I compare it to a course here. So for example, the classes that I took there was Modern Korean History, which translated to Korean History since 1876 here at UCLA. And then the other class that I took was Global China and World Politics at Yonsei, which translated to Chinese International Relations here at UCLA. So you can definitely check the syllabus for both of those classes and the course description and see which ones match up. Yeah, thank you for the question.
Thank you, Emily. So we have 2 more questions. I'm going to answer the second one, and the third question is for you. So the question I will be answering says, what is the application for the 2 different program types again? So for the Global Internship Program and UCEAP applications, you can find them on our website, ieo.ucla.edu. And then at the very top of a program page, where you find the different program options, you hover over it, and then you will see Global Internship and UCEAP. So whichever program you're interested in or you would like to explore each, you just click on it, and then that will give you access to all of the program information and the application portal. So please take a look when you get a moment. The question for you, Emily, I'll read it out for you. How rigorous were the courses there? I'm curious to see how much time I'll have to go around and explore.
Yeah, of course. So honestly, that is a very good question. So with that, I want to highlight sort of a little bit of what I did versus some of what my friends did. So I'm not going to lie to you, the courses there are rigorous, and I think that in general, the Yonsei professors do grade a little bit harder than UCLA professors. That does not mean that getting a good grade is impossible. It's all about effort, office hours, going to, really being invested, just like a class here at UCLA. I think that there are different teaching styles from Yonsei compared to UCLA. For my classes, they tend to be a lot more discussion-based, and I think that at Yonsei, they were a lot more lecture-based. So just having the professor lecture, and then if there's time, have a little discussion at the end. Now, what I did is that because I was taking my major classes at Yonsei, that didn't mean that I had to, be really attentive to class. I had to go, I had to do my hardest in them, right? But that still gave me a lot of time to explore. Obviously, like I said, I couldn't go to Busan, Gwangju, places like that, but I know Seoul like the back of my hand now, and I really appreciate that experience. What some of my other friends did is that they went and they took specifically what is considered IEE or study abroad courses, which are designed for study abroad students that so they are a little bit easier. Classes like that are kind of like introduction to K-pop. There was another one that was like Korean food and culture, and then another one that was about like Korean folk music. And those are designed to be easier. And so my friends that did those classes I think they did have in general a little bit more time to explore, mostly because the professors are more understanding. They know that, sometimes you'll have to miss class or, um, my friend's final for her K-pop class, the only thing really that was due for the entire class was that you go to a concert, K-pop concert, and then you write about your experience. So, there's definitely a class for everyone there. I did have a friend who was more into the STEM side, and she was doing really, really hard, like upper division biology classes. And she was telling me that for the beginning half of the semester, she really couldn't travel anywhere. So I think for you, it would be really important to just find that perfect balance. Kind of like what I did. I did two upper division classes that I knew would count. One elective, which was still a major elective, and then I took Korean. So my classes were a little bit more rigorous compared to people who just went to take GEs, but I don't regret that at all. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Emily. That was the final question. If any other questions come up, here you can access our virtual advising drop-in sessions. Our email account is also there. Our social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can follow us at UCLA IEO for more information, and you can also view pictures from study abroad participants. You can get a visual of where you would like to be. And again, you see my contact there as well for programs in Korea and Japan. And with that said, thank you all for taking time out of your day to join us. Thank you, Emily, for sharing your experience and making the time to do so. Again, please continue to attend our several GLOW sessions that are scheduled throughout the week. Take care and have a great day.